Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Key to Football. We've had enough of George running the roost while we've been on holiday, me and Liam, and taking our ease from football. I think after the Champions League final, I definitely needed a mental break, and that just turned out to be 2 months. Liam. Well, Liam's Liam, so he never rocks up anyway. But do thank George for keeping the show running while we've been gone. He's done an outstanding job, but it's time the real people come back in that know what they're talking about. So, boys and girls, thanks for joining us. Please do follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. You'll also find this on YouTube. Look, just before we start, I just wanted to say we're not going to be talking about it today because we're going to be focusing on the Premier League, but really big congratulations to the England Lionesses for making the final of that. That's a massive achievement, and hopefully they go on and win it. So do watch. I think that is Sunday. Is it Sunday evening, boys, or is it Saturday evening? I think it's Sunday.
I think it's Sunday. I think you're right.
Awesome. So look, today is a really fun episode. I love these episodes. We didn't really get to do it last year because I think we started this podcast in late October or November. So we never got to do our preseason predictions. So we're doing it today. We are getting straight in the deep end. We've got early predictions of top 8, relegation. And these are confirmed, by the way. These are guaranteed to happen. Well, mine anyway. First manager to be sacked, best signing, best transfer window so far. So who's had the best transfer window? Who's the biggest flop, or who will be the biggest flop? And who are you most excited to watch? And this will come from all of us. It might be a bit of a long one today. We might have to split it up into 2 episodes, but we will see how it goes. Boys, Liam, I'll go to you first. How have you been?
I've been very well. It's been actually quite nice to take a step back from all things football for a little while, because it was a pretty dismal end to the season for Arsenal. So yeah, it's been nice, but I'm now reset. I've had a good pre-season, both Arsenal and myself. So now I'm ready to go.
Oh, here we go, George. Look, always great to see you. It's sad we don't get to work together anymore, but this is.
It's not what you were saying off air, by the way.
Yeah, that's definitely not what I was saying off air. No, it's really good to see you, George. How you been? How's your summer break been?
Really laboured. Obviously, unlike Liam, I'm buzzing how the season finished. I actually can't believe that I see us on the 20 every time, because we should have got relegated, and I'll keep labouring that point. We should have got relegated. But I mean, for everyone else, it must be nice. I mean, I defended Liam on one of the Football Heritage. I mean, he hasn't been on because he just doesn't like me, and that's fine.
I've been on the Football Heritage.
No. On one I did. I was like, the reason you haven't heard from Liam is because he just doesn't like me. But for Mays, it's just... Well, there's no excuse. So yeah, but yeah, great to be back with the both of you.
Thanks, George.
Look, George, we've missed you. I've had quite a lot of compliments about you, George, recently, about your views on football, and I said, well, look, don't ask for his views on politics because they're even worse. Boys, we're gonna get straight into it because we've got so much to talk about. I think in future podcasts, we might go back to the end of last season, do a little bit about it. But I think the next couple of weeks will definitely be about trying to predict what's going to happen this season, give everybody all the updates. We'll do some transfer ones and big signings. But this one is more just to get everybody back in to the feel of football. So we're going to start with top 8. And I think it's best just to go in order let's just start with Liam. I want to know your top 8 football teams. You can go from 8 to, what do you think? 8 to first, or first 8 to
8
first?
upwards, for sure.
Awesome.
So we spoke about this a little bit just before we started, but my 8th is actually probably the trickiest position, because I think there's there's capabilities from a few clubs depending on how well they've done so far in the transfer market, but also, we're still in the thick of it. There's still a long way to go. So there's a lot more to happen, I think. So I think if we ask this maybe at the end of the transfer market, I think it might
At the end of
change.
the season.
If you ask this at the end of the season, I think I've been nailed on to get it right. No, if we ask this again, interesting. I think we should make a note of that. If we make a note to make sure we ask this once the transfer window's closed and see whether it changed, because I think there's still a lot to happen. I think some clubs are still sleeping.
But you'll get yeah. I think we should, but you'll also get a couple of games to register it, because end of the transfer season. Yeah.
True. So look, right now, because I'm preempting things more than anything, I think 8th will be Newcastle. I don't think they've done enough right now, but I think there's a lot more to come from them. I think they need to add a lot more to that squad in order to be top 8.
Yeah.
Top 10 maybe more realistically at the moment, but I do believe that they'll make a few more signings and they'll elevate themselves a little bit more.
I like it. I think what we should do is actually everybody do their 8th and then everybody do their 8th. What do you think?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. George, who do you have as coming in 8th?
Well, you're actually going to like this list, Maze, because I think there's only one team on here that I didn't refer to as your boys last season. I've actually got Leicester in 8th.
Interesting.
I think, I just think that even though they haven't had any incomings, I think Brendan Rodgers, they had a really big lull last year. Media let them off easy, but I think this year they'll be gunning to go. And I think they put a bit of consistency together early on. No European football. I think, I see no reason why they couldn't.
Yeah, I actually have Leicester finishing quite low in the table. I have them finishing like 12th, 13th. I just don't think they've done anything. Yeah, they've literally sent out, I think, like 7 or so players. Pretty not massive names, but they haven't brought anybody in, and they haven't. I don't know. I just think that they haven't done enough, and that they need to improve padlocks. Every other team around them, including the one that I think 8th of Newcastle, have done a lot. So yeah, I would go Newcastle at 8. But look, Leicester have some great players in there for sure. I just think they really. I think that is one that at the end of the summer transfer will be a big one. If they bring in a couple of players, I could definitely see them.
If you just allow me a few moments to say why Newcastle aren't quite there for me.
Go for it.
I don't think they're going to be in any danger whatsoever this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've made smart, sensible signings. But I think for Newcastle now, a good season is to just finish mid-table. And I just think that's what that squad is capable of doing. I think, Botman was a really, really good signing. Matty Targett obviously worked out for them and they brought him in. But I'm just not overly convinced that they've got that real quality. Like, don't get me wrong, everyone loves St. Maximin, but his output, I imagine, as a Newcastle fan, is incredibly frustrating. And I think they've got a few too many players like that. So that's why I don't have them in my top 8.
No, I agree. I actually was going into this when I was writing it. I didn't actually have them in there. I had them finishing around 10th. But then I looked at the transfers and what I thought about last season. And I don't think Leicester are going to do well. I don't think Wolves are going to do well. And I think Gerrard is under a lot of pressure. And I don't know if he's... Yeah, essentially, I think that's going to be a really tough battle for Villa. So I actually just thought Newcastle were just a bit better than the rest, and they snuck in that 8th spot for me. Liam, was there any specific reason that you went with Newcastle there over Leicester or anybody like that?
Well, I won't give too much away about my rest of my picks, but I've purely put Newcastle in there with the foresight that I think they're going to do a bit of a madness in the weeks to come. So right now, if the transfer window closed today, would I have Newcastle in top 8? No, I think maybe sort of 10th, 11th, 12th.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why they're there right now is because I'm preempting what they might achieve in the market in the weeks to come, because I think there is still a lot more to come from them. They've got silly money and they're not finished with Botman, let's be honest. So it depends how far they go.
Yeah, No, look, great. I think there's some good debate there for all of that. All right, I'm gonna go. I'll go with who I've got in seventh, and then Liam, you can follow on. I've got West Ham finishing in seventh. Brought in a couple of players already. Solid team, solid manager. Definitely think they're better than those teams that I was just mentioning before of Leicester, who seem to leak goals constantly. Wolves, who have got rid of players and not brought. I don't think they brought really anybody that can really compare to that. And Villa as well. I just think again Villa have got a bit of an uphill battle. So I think West Ham are good, but maybe not that top five sort of area. Liam, who did you go with?
I've gone with Villa for seventh, and I think given it's Gerrard's second season, I think he'll be able to put his stamp on a little bit more. I like how they sign at Kamara early doors, who I think is a good player as well. So as long as they can add a couple more in there as well, I think they will be. They're more effective for me in terms of positioning with where they could end up in terms of like Leicester. I feel like Leicester players have moved on and they've not really brought anyone in as of yet, and they don't really look like they are. I think they're probably going to lose Tielemans. Vardy's another year older, and we saw last year it started to catch up with him a little bit. And I just don't think they've been playing well on all accounts, Leicester. So it was a toss-up between Leicester and Villa. But I'm going to go with Villa because I think Gerrard this year might be able to eke a little bit more out of them.
I like it. George?
I'll join Liam because I've also gone for Aston Villa. I think the fact of the matter is that Gerrard came in last year. Yes, he got a very easy ride, as I mentioned at the time. But I think some of the additions that they made in the January, players like Luca Digne, for example, and Coutinho, who they've now signed permanently, those sorts of players with that bit more time to get used to that system will really fit in. Boubacar Kamara, as Liam said, great signing. Diego Carlos, brilliant signing. Antonsen to play, I'm sorry if that's the incorrect pronunciation, him to play left back when Digne isn't playing so well, I think is a good signing. And today, the fact that Gerrard changed captaincy from Mings to McGinn suggests to me he's willing to make those cutthroat decisions. But make no mistake, like me and Liam have just put them seventh. If they're not minimum 10th, then I think questions really will be asked.
Do you think if he finishes ninth, he's all good? He's got one more season?
I think if he finishes ninth and they've had a reasonable domestic cup run, maybe a quarter-final, semi-final, maybe in one of the cups, then I think he's fine. So yeah.
What about you, Liam? Where's he safe at?
I think they obviously want to, with the investment they've given in already, I think they want to be getting into Europe for sure. I think if they fall short of Europe, it'll be, there'll be eyebrows raised. But I don't think at that point he'll lose his job. I think he'll get another year. I think they've not hired Gerrard for a 1 season, 2 season wonder. They're hiring Gerrard with a foresight of 3, 4, 5 seasons, I think. So they've put investment in, and that builds a little bit more pressure on his shoulders. But I think top 10 finish, we'll probably see him fine until next year.
Interesting. I like it. All right. Coming in at 6th. I'm right. Yeah, I'm counting up. So my maths is bloody horrible, as everybody knows. I've got Chelsea. I've got Chelsea at 6th. I don't think they're going to have a good season. I was really off them tail end of last season. I think that they're losing so much in their back line. They're looking like they're losing in the forward line. I think Tuchel's head's going to go halfway through the season. And I love Tuchel. I just think that he won't want to put up with this anymore. So I've gone with Chelsea. It's a little wild card at 6.
Okay.
Liam, what do you think?
I've gone for West Ham. I don't think they've done enough yet in the market to be able to better what they've got last year, and they're in Europe again. So I think they haven't quite got the squad that can then do both the domestic and also the European. I do like that striker they've brought in, Skamaka. I think he's going to be a good player. So I think now they're going to be a better side this year. Definitely, they've managed to keep hold of Rice. I think they're in the market for a centre half as well, and it depends who they bring in that aspect. But I think they'll be thereabouts again with 6. I don't think they're going to be good enough for top 4 again, but equally, I don't think they're going to fall away from where they were last year.
Awesome. George.
I think I should say, as you've both mentioned, that West Ham aren't in my top 8. I disagree with Liam. I think they will fall away quite a bit this year. Never going to be in any danger. They'll just be 9th, 10th, 11th. I think what I'm seeing there is similar to what happened to Leicester last season, in that I called it very, very early. West Ham should have got top 4 because Arsenal and Man United and Tottenham were in complete disarray. And they had players like Mark Noble who were happy to come and fill in a European competition that people actually cared about. They're now in the Conference League that they do not care about, and they haven't made enough quality additions for me to still be there. I think you've now got players like Fornals, like Deckers, like Kurt Zuma, who, I'm not saying they don't care, but they know that last season they can ride off that, hand in a transfer request and someone will come calling. So I'm not so sure that West Ham will carry it on this year. Now, for my sake, I've gone for United. They're going to have an absolutely terrible season. Ten Hag won't make it I doubt he'll make it to the end of next season. I've been completely uninspired with the business that they've done. Everyone's talking about they've got him in. It's going to be amazing. They've signed a centre back who's shorter than me. I'm 5'7" for those that don't know. They've signed a backup left back, and they've signed Eriksen. That's it. And Cristiano Ronaldo evidently doesn't want to be there. I've not seen anything for them. And the stupid thing is they're chasing Frankie de Jong, who obviously doesn't want to go. So I cannot see how either of you have got them any higher than that. So for me, Man United 6th, and they're lucky to get that.
Oh, I love it. I've gone a very different take on that. Okay, let's go to 5th. I've got Arsenal coming in 5th. I don't think they're going to make top 4. I don't think they've got the bottle. Just looking at Liam here. Look, Arsenal had a good preseason game. Let's clap them on the back. They've done a great job in preseason, but guess what? The season doesn't start in July. It starts in August.
That's a terrible take. Just because we had a couple of games in pre-season, you think, we all got above our stations. Come on, Bob, you're better than that.
No, look, I hope they do better. I just think the teams above them are stronger in this regard. Look, Arsenal have got some really good players. I keep thinking I love the Jesus signing. I love quite a few of like I do like the team. I just don't think they have that. I don't know, the boss of the team, and I really don't see you doing well without that. I think your main person is your manager right now, and I don't know if he's got what it is. Like I just don't think that you guys have the mental ability to get top 4 this season. I think in the last part, you had a great opportunity last season. Is it going to get better than that? I don't know. I'm going to go George before I let Liam cool down a bit.
Lucky boy.
I'm sorry, Liam, but I've gone Arsenal as well, 5th.
Oh, do you know what?
To be honest, I really, really like a lot of the signings they've made.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jesus is really, really good signing. I thought Zinchenko was bold and ambitious, and we'll come on to him later, but I am really pleased that Vieira's got his move to a proper team from Porto, obviously. My concern with Arsenal is sort of threefold. It is what you said, Maze, about the other teams that are in the league that I think have got a bit more quality and experience in churning out the results. Second thing for me is I think he is the 5th best manager when we compare him to the other 4 teams that I've obviously got above them. And this could turn out being an absolutely terrible take, and if so be it, I'm going to hold my hands up. But Zinchenko's coming in, and he's going to be going from playing 16 to 18 games a season to almost 50. How will he handle that? And this is something I always ask myself when I look at transfers. Arsenal are a massive club. So before Liam gets annoyed, I'm not trying to have a go at them for that. But if Jesus was as good as Arsenal Twitter keeps telling me he is, surely he is not going to a team without Champions League football. You might have sold him on the colour scheme. You might have sold him a lovely house in Highbury and Islington. But why has he ended up going to a team outside of the top four if he's really going to be the 22 goal a season striker I've seen you retweet saying that he's going to be? So that's why I've got Arsenal in 5th.
Love it. Liam, come on, give us your... I'm guessing you haven't got Arsenal in 5th.
Good guess. I've got Chelsea in 5th. I've also could call it an oversight, but I'm actually going to wear it now. I haven't got United in my top 8. And
I was thinking, Jesus, who's missing out here?
So I'm just going to wear it now. Don't fancy United for top 8.
Newcastle, finish above United.
When George was talking about United, I was like, oh, shit. I think they're going to fall apart. I think they're going to capitulate. So gonna wear that now. But yeah, Chelsea in 5th. I think a bit of a weird thing is unfolding at Chelsea. I like the signing of Sterling, but we obviously played them the other day, and yeah, albeit we looked good, and albeit it's pre-season before you start talking, Bob, but Chelsea looked bad. Like for pre-season as well, they looked bad.
That's why I've gone with them really low.
Yeah, that first, it's probably the 3rd or 4th game of pre-season, but that's probably not far from their starting 11 that they played. And they also were torn apart. I say torn apart. They lost on penalties, didn't they, to Club America the week before that. Oh, again, I know it's pre-season, but they followed that up then with a 4-0 bashing from Arsenal. I think they're going to struggle, at least for the first half of the season. New ownership. There's a lot of moving parts there, and I think some of the players still are waiting to see what their contract situation is. So, yeah, I've got them in 5th.
I like it. Okay. Look, I've got in 4th. I have got United. I think United are going to squeak 4th. There's a couple of reasons here. I think United are going to spend big soon. I think they're going to go really big. I think they are. That I don't care if they lose Ronaldo or not. In terms of, I think if they lose Ronaldo, they'll get somebody. That what Man U's mentality is: we've lost Ronaldo. We need to get, I don't know, Messi. Like, just someone crazy. That's their philosophy, right? And I think that if they don't lose Ronaldo, that's great. Like, Ronaldo's unbelievable. So he'll be great in the team anyway. So it's win-win in a weird way. And I think that I really rate the manager. So that was the one thing that I disagreed with George, is that I really, really rate Ten Hag. So I think that Ten Hag is the 4th best manager in the league. I think that he might even be the 3rd best manager in the league, but that's got to be proven. So I think that the reason they're going to do it, they've got rid of a lot of dead wood, in my opinion. They've got rid of like Pogba, Meta, Lingard, I don't know, loads of them, aren't they? Cavani wasn't really dead wood, but he was in the team because he wasn't playing. And I think that bringing in players like Eriksen and Martinez I think that's good. Like, I don't really see the size thing that bad. I thought that's a bit overrated, but whatever. You've got a big CB next year, so you'll be fine. I think they're going to finish top 4. George.
I've actually got quite a lot. So I've gone for Chelsea in 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be nowhere near as they've been, as like level they've been at the last 2 years. I think if they're going to have a starting centre-back partnership of Koulibaly and Thiago Silva with Chilwell and Reece James, I think that alone keeps them in games against Arsenal, Man United, Villa, Leicester, enough for them to get a few points and get over the line. I think Tuchel is a good coach, but I agree that they're not... Chelsea are either going to finish 4th or 5th. And I probably should have mentioned that when I said Arsenal. Where Arsenal finish depends on how Chelsea perform for me. Because if Sterling goes in and hits 15, 16 goals, different. But if they don't and Jesus hits 15, 16 and Arsenal play some decent stuff, then I think they're there. I just want to say, Mays, and I've said it before with Man United, but they're just going round in circles. Ten Hag is the new Van Gaal, but he's bald and a bit younger. And then after he goes, they'll go for a serial winner like Conte. And then after that, they'll go for someone else. They'll probably, I don't know, Scholes, someone like that. And then it'll go round again. How you can say that you think a number 10 on a free and someone who's come from an Eredivisie league in Ajax, good team, massive club, semi-decent league, is enough to see them leap from where they were last year and gobsmacked. You're better than that.
No, I think it's actually getting rid of the players is more important, in my opinion. Getting rid of half of those players, I just don't think that the atmosphere is right there, and cutting that out. I think that they have a really tough start to the year, and I think they'll go on a run halfway through the year, and I think they'll be really hard to beat.
The thing is, sorry, Liam, because I'm meeting into your time, but stick with Liam for a minute, right? He's all the Arsenal fans, as soon as Arteta's there, and it did get a bit annoying, but it was like, trust the process. If we finish 6th, that's fine, because we'll keep building and building. If Man United look like they're in danger of not getting top 4, everyone will go, he needs to go, he needs to go, he needs to go, he needs to go. We're Man United, we're Man United, we're Man United. And that's all I'm going to say for now.
I like it. I think that this will be a good one to discuss in like a proper podcast, going deep into Man United for sure. Liam, 4th. Spurs. Going Spurs. There's no way you put Spurs above Arsenal.
This is live. I also don't want to be unrealistic, but I also don't want to put them above us again. I'll tell you what I've got written. I've got Arsenal 4th. Yeah, I did have Spurs in 3rd. I might swap that about. Ask me in 10 minutes. But I think, 3rd or 4th, Arsenal will get Champions League this year. I think we'll come on to a bit later on in terms of the windows and who's done well, who's done the best outgoings, ingoings. I think we've had a brilliant window so far. I think we've added players that are winners. Mm-hmm. It's not just about being in part of a squad. I think you've got players in there now, the Zinchenko and the Jesus, that winning is actually a mentality of theirs. They're not just been there for the ride. They've shown themselves already in those teams. And I know you say Zinchenko hasn't played that many minutes, and you could argue the same for Jesus, but when they've played very well, and they've done a big part of both those teams. I think you add that into the mix with potentially 1 or 2 more signings, and I think you've got yourself a decent top 4 side there.
For sure. I think if those players kick on and they're as good as what we hope they are, for sure Arsenal have a great shot at being top 4 and even top 3. There's no doubt. I just think that they need to get on that run. 3rd position, Liam, go for 3rd. Who have you got in 3rd?
I've got Arsenal in 3rd. No, look, again, it's a toss-up. The reason why I initially wrote down Spurs in 3rd is purely because of Conte. I think the back end of last season, did we give it away, or did Spurs really grasp it from us? You could ask that Conte really took it away from us, as well as us sort of dropping the points, right?
Yes, you dropping the points.
Yeah, I mean, we did drop the points because it was in our hands. But I think if that was a Espirito Santo Spurs side, I think we get 4th last season.
That's true.
I think he just turned them into a bit of a winning machine, and they rode their luck, of course, but they did it in moments where before in seasons gone by, they've lost, they've drawn, and their bottle's gone.
But they beat you guys, didn't you? And that was the crux one. It wasn't just like they literally, that momentum shift was crazy. I
mean, my thoughts on that game. That game wasn't, Spurs didn't beat us that game. The refs beat us. We beat ourselves. So I hear what you're saying, Bob, but I also wholeheartedly disagree. More talking about the games that followed that. They rode their luck against Burnley and they got a penalty that was never a pen, but they still won those games and they still got 4th. And
what
on
about
the last
Newcastle?
day, for us or them?
You.
I mean, yeah, that was one of the worst games to sit through. That was absolutely horrendous. Did we do a podcast after that game?
I don't know if you did.
Probably not. I had too much to say, and also I didn't want to speak about it. Yeah, that was terrible. But yeah, I've got them in there third because of the Conte factor. I think if there was another manager in charge there, I think they'd probably be sixth, fifth.
I like it. George, third. I'm guessing similar.
Yep, Tottenham. I think Conte alone, and I think he's made whoever comes in next as a Spurs manager is going to be in big trouble unless they play the same way, because he's signed players that fit perfectly for his system in Perisic and Jed Spence and Basuma. And I also actually quite like Richarlison. I thought it was quite a decent signing.
So against it.
but yeah, I think they'll be third, not comfortably, but I just think they'll be there.
I think they're going to be comfortably third. I really do. I think there's going to be. I don't think they're going to be comfortably near second. I think top two are quite far ahead, in my opinion. And I think third, it'll kind of be like what Chelsea was this year, where Chelsea were never really in that top four, like battle for top four. They were going to be top four. And I think they'll have a good start to the season. They'll fall away mid-season. They'll end pretty well. And I think they'll do really, really well in the Cups, Tottenham. I think they're going to be a real bastard to beat in the Cups. Again, I agree with George. Those signings are good. I'm not really too sure on the Richarlison one, but I think that's the kind of signing that Spurs fans love. Like the other ones are better for them, but Spurs fans, I think they loved that Richarlison one. It just went nuts. They were like, this is the best, because he's a name. Like he's a proper, like he's a winner as well. Like he's a proper winner. I don't know really where he fits though, with Son and Kane. Do you guys know? Is he going to be playing on the right? Is that?
He'll have to if he's going to start.
Yeah.
He'll have to, because he's not spacing over them.
He'll have to, or he might do like at times. I think he might go to a two up front, particularly maybe in the Champions League and stuff like that, and then that's where Richarlison squeezes in. Because I mean, we have to all be real. Everyone will agree. If Son or Kane gets a long-term injury on last season's squad, that's it, seventh.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, Richarlison coming in obviously doesn't hit Kane's numbers, but is less of a step down, shall we say, than Troy Parrott.
Sure.
So yeah,
for sure.
It's a good signing. It's not a great signing.
No, I agree.
It's okay.
I would prefer Gabriel Jesus.
Yeah, I think they would have done as well.
Yeah. All right, let's go to second. Liam, give me a second pick.
Liverpool. I think Haaland. I think he's going to tip it.
It is close.
I haven't seen. I don't think Nunez is going to. I think he's going to struggle his first year.
Very likely, yeah.
Yeah, so I think you might see the loss of Mane to be quite significant. I think you've got enough in other areas to help out, but I think really Mane is quite a big loss, and I don't think Nunez is going to really kick on first year. I think he might need a year to settle. He's still young, and that's not really his fault. It's just what really comes with the territory when you join the Premier League from a league like the Portuguese league. No offense, George. So yeah, I think you might struggle really to keep up with City. I think you'll still be comfortably second, but yeah, I don't think you'll be in touch this year.
George?
I agree with Liam.
Love it. Okay, nothing else. Awesome. Okay, I've got City going in second. I'll explain Liverpool in a bit. I haven't put City in second for the last 5 years. Like I've put City number one every year. But this year, I think that winning the league 3 years in a row is proven to be nearly impossible. Mentally, it's really challenging. They have to win the Champions League this year. There's just no doubt. Like they have to win it this year. They brought in Haaland. The pressure on Pep's going to be enormous. And Haaland, in my opinion, has been brought in to win that Champions League. He's brought in to win against Real Madrid in the semi-finals. Brought in to beat Chelsea in the final. PSG in the semi-finals, like all of these games they lose, Haaland is brought in there to win it. And I think they're going to win 3. I think they're going to win the 3 trophies, but I think the Premier League is the one they're going to miss out on, because I will then roll into Liverpool as my winners, because Liverpool put everything into the Premier League this year. I genuinely think that it's exactly what happened, in my opinion. It's going to be what happened when we lost the league by 1 point again. I think we're just going to be so focused to, I don't know, when I just think we're going to be really, really hard to beat. Our back line is strong, solid, midfield solid. And I think that even if Darwin takes a while to get used to, you still have Jota, Bobby, Salah, and Diaz there, which are all incredibly strong players. So the benefits of Nunez is just like pressing people, pushing people to the limit. I think is actually really strong. And yeah, I'll let who's against that completely the most, and I'll let them speak. Liam, there you
go. You said that you think you're going to put everything, Liverpool are going to put everything into winning the Prem this year, but I don't think your everything with that squad is enough. I think you're going to come up short. Again, I keep talking about it. I think losing Mane, like you had a triple threat there in terms of Salah, Mane, and obviously what's the Brazilian guy that joined?
Diaz.
Diaz, yes. I think you had a triple threat.
He's not
there.
Brazilian, but yeah, I knew who you meant.
in Liam's
Colombian,
world, South America, it's all the same.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was very, very bad. You might need to edit that out, mate.
Looks Brazilian, in fairness.
Who's that? Beep. Oh, Jesus, that'll be even worse.
That would be even worse. Don't do that. I think with those as a front three, I think you could go across either of them. And I think teams didn't really, other than Salah, obviously it's a focal point, but I think teams, you just put too much pressure on Salah, and you got Mane there picking it up, or you focus too much on Mane, you got Salah there, and Diaz vice versa. I think Nunez is going to take some getting used to. And I think in the final third, you'll still score goals, and you'll, again, comfortably second in my opinion. But I think you weigh that up against City, who are bang there again in terms of the league, the way they finished off the league, and then they've gone and added an absolute monster in Haaland. I think that's going to be quite, not comfortable again, but I think that's going to push them over the edge for an easier win than last year in terms of the league. And I agree, Champions League is going to be their focus. But I think Pep is an animal in that sense, and I don't think he's going to really think like that. I think he'll want to win the Champions League, but will he give that up? Would he give the Prem up?
If he got asked right now, would you take Champions League or Premier League? I'm sure he would say Champions League.
I'm sure he'd say both. I think that's
well,
just
probably,
the way he is.
Yeah, I think everybody in the world would say both.
Yeah, maybe inside his own room when there was no one listening, he might say Champions League, he might whisper it. But I think he's just a winning machine. He'll want both. He'll never admit one or the other. I'd be very surprised if he did.
That's true. George?
So I've obviously gone City first, Liverpool second. I think the addition of Haaland is a really good one, but Calvin Phillips as well.
Yeah,
I think obviously going from Leeds to City, I think is worthwhile noting, because Phillips is the sort of player that can slot in for when they're playing any team in the bottom 8 and do a really, really good job, and it'll also be applied in the Champions League as well, thus leaving a lot of the stronger players to play in the much more key games in terms of the bigger squads and the ones that are on TV, basically. I agree with Liam. I think Mane could be the first brick that crumbles from what has otherwise been a very stable thing. I mean, I've been saying it to you for years now, Maze. Van Dijk, Henderson, Fabinho, Salah, Mane, Firmino, like all really, really quality footballers. But at some point, the penny will drop and they are going to start to decline and they need to be replaced. And Liam, you might remember, there was a British citizen who lived in New Zealand for a lot of his life. And he said, what was he saying? Oh yeah, we've now got the chance for all 4 trophies. And I said, what happens if you only get 2? And he went, that season is a failure. If we come out with just 2 trophies, that season has been a failure. You did go listen, go and listen, Maze. And I think you look at that dressing room, and I think there'd be some of the players going, you know what, Mane's gone because he knows we're just not going to beat them. I just don't know if I believe, because after last season, that was a once in a 2-3 generation chance to win all 4. And sometimes if it doesn't happen, there's only so long you can keep trying before just thinking it isn't happening.
I think last season for Liverpool has been tainted by the fact that, obviously losing the Champions League, we deserve, I was furious after that. We didn't deserve to win the game. I don't think Real Madrid played particularly well, but also they deserve to win it. I think that's tainted what Liverpool, like people are viewing Liverpool as this season. Liverpool did not lose the Premier League. Liverpool, apart from one game in the last 15 or something like that, won every game. We just lost 1 to Tottenham, who are a very good side under a very good manager. I genuinely think that people are sleeping on Liverpool of how good they'll be this season. And Mane had a horrible first 6 months of the season. And yes, he came in.
Who had a terrible second 6 months of the season?
Yeah, but you could also say that Salah had a lot of the contract issues were going on as well.
So you mean his heart isn't at Anfield? Why?
Because his heart's with every footballer. His heart's with their paycheck. That's what's actually happening. Look, I'm really interested to see how that all unfolds. We actually spent a lot of time on that. So let's not spend too long on the relegation parts, and we'll move on into the relegation ones. Let's just do 3 in order. We don't need to go put them in order. We'll just do our 3, and then we can discuss any outliers that you think. So, Liam, who have you got relegated?
I've got Leeds going down. I think they've let their top quality players go, and as far as I can see, they've not pinpointed anyone to really replace them. And nor I think they won't. I don't think they're going to be able to get someone the caliber of Rafinha or Phillips in there. I've then gone Bournemouth. I just think, maybe the Bournemouth of 5 years ago under Eddie Howe may be able to keep their head above water. I think they're going to struggle with their squad. They look like one of the weakest teams in the league, definitely the bottom 3 weakest. And then I've gone Southampton.
Ooh. Southampton,
I think, kind of skated by with a few. They went on a bit of a purple patch run of games last year, and they managed to keep their head above water a little bit. But they've been teetering. They've never progressed. They've got the same squad predominantly for the last few years. If they can keep hold of Ward-Prowse, all right, they may nick games here and there. But I actually think as a squad, they're probably there with the bottom 3 worst squads. So I think their time has come. I think they're probably going to end up going down this year.
George?
So I've gone for Bournemouth. Agree with Liam. I think that, you look at their incomings, Joe Rothwell from Blackburn on free and Ryan Fredericks from West Ham on a free. Not very inspiring. I think they'll go down. Media sweethearts and Maze's boys, Brentford. I think without Ericsson, everyone forgets they were on a disgusting run of form, a really, really, really bad run. And then he came in and they picked up a bit. Aaron Hickey, decent signing from Bologna. But other than that, they've signed a decent championship player in Lewis Potter, and they've got Strakosha from Lazio on a free, and Ben Mee, who was relegated on a free. Not inspiring. I think it's the second season. They've had their time in the sun. I think they'll really struggle. This will probably surprise you both, but think about it. I've gone Everton.
Wow,
I have not seen anything at all from anywhere that they are going to improve on last season. And everyone can look back now and say, Rafa Benitez kept Everton up, because Fat Frank certainly didn't. Richarlison is gone. They haven't got anyone in to replace him. Anthony Gordon, who they seem to think is going to keep them up, who I think scored 2 goals last season, not 50, 2. I just think Everton are really going to struggle. And I think Lampard will do his routine of blaming everyone but himself. And that'll just fail. He could be one of the first to go for me.
The reason I'm laughing, George, is because I've gone with the exact 3 relegated, the exact same 3. I've gone with Everton, I just think losing their best player and then getting in Tarkovsky, what the hell? I've gone Brentford because I think they're exactly like Sheffield United, had a great season, and think that everybody thinks they're going to come sixth. And what's going to happen is they're going to get relegated this season, and they're probably going to be dead last by a long way. And then Bournemouth was the only one I was actually tossing up. Fulham, just maybe. It's literally splitting hairs to me between Bournemouth and Fulham of who's going to have a worse season. I just think that Bournemouth maybe aren't spending as the same amount as Fulham will do because of that London bias. Very interesting though, George, that me and you, we never really agree. So that's quite nice.
Cute, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cute. All right, best signing, guys. Who have we gone with? Liam, who have you gone best signing?
Gabriel Jesus. I don't think it's really a question, is it? Has anyone gone for anyone else?
Yeah, I've gone definitely somebody else.
Yeah, well, you're obviously a fool. No, Jesus. People are sleeping on him, and the guy.
For sure.
I mean, look, let me give you a little stat, right? The guy, in terms of Premier League era, right? Not the full Premier League era, but since Gabriel Jesus made his debut, I think 2013, 14, maybe Premier League, maybe a little bit later. Don't quote me. He has 7th, and bear in mind this guy plays second fiddle to Aguero for many years. He has the 7th best goals per minute ratio in the Prem. 7th, right? And he is behind.
Helps playing at City.
Sorry, what was that, Bob?
Helps playing at City.
Don't talk to me about anything like that. So he's behind Vardy. Obviously, Vardy is a pretty good player. Very vague, pretty good player. Aubameyang, goal scorer, out goal scorer. Didn't really add much else to his game, but scored goals. Can't complain. Ronaldo, obviously, had a bit of a barnstormer of a season last year. Kane, don't need to be saying much more. Salah, and then Aguero. So
pretty good names to be there with.
It is. Indeed, it is, right. And this is a guy, again, you look at all those guys: Vardy, Aubameyang, Ronaldo, Harry Kane, Salah, Aguero. When Aguero is playing, those names are probably, in terms of their teams, were the first player on the team sheet when they were in form, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, Aubameyang fell away at the end of his Arsenal career, but there was reasons behind that. You're throwing Jesus amongst, like you just said, Bob, some very, very good names there. And I think in a team where he's going to be the main man, in a position that I think Arsenal are going to definitely favour him, I think he's going to be the best signing for Arsenal this season in terms of so far what we've seen from whatever other club has managed to pull off. And I think he's definitely good. I keep having this conversation with a few of my Arsenal friends. I think he's definitely good for 20 goals this season, league goals.
Interesting.
Don't sleep on him, Bob. Don't sleep on him.
Hey, I'm the only one that backed him last season. Both you guys put him in the bin last season when I brought him up as being one of City's best players of the first part of a first 8 games. He was key to them. And then as soon as I said that stat, he got binned, which is hilarious. But I've always been very big on Gabriel Jesus. The issue that I have with him is I just don't think the one benefit that I see, like big benefit, is that Arteta would not have brought him in if he didn't believe in him, because he's worked with him. So Arteta obviously believes in him, which is like, I think it's massive having a manager that believes in you, and that he's brought him in for a reason, and he believes that he can score goals. I just don't know. I don't know if he's got the 20 goals in him, especially first year in. I don't know if he's got 20 goals in him. George.
Difficult. Like I couldn't decide on one, so I've jotted down a few. Jesus is one of them. Mm-hmm. But I think, to be honest, I think I'm just going to be lazy and just be an armchair fan and say Haaland.
Yes, love it.
And just go, oh God, yeah. Case in point, Case in point of
love
exactly what
it.
I'm talking
I'm
about.
so excited.
See, he's saying he doesn't want City to do well, but he's more excited about Haaland
I just
playing than
love him.
Liverpool.
I
I
watched the
think-
friendly game of him the other day
Oh
and
my
running
God, it's a
like this,
friendly.
and I was just like, "Oh, he's so cool."
I think, yeah, I just think for 51 million, which everyone knows it isn't, but that's what it's been reported. Of course, it's not, but that's what it's been reported as. I just think, but I've also, so I'm going with Haaland, but I've also put down there Diego Carlos, Sven Botman, and Jesus.
Interesting. I'm surprised that nobody's raised this. I think this could be the most important signing of the summer.
Please don't say Nick Pope.
No, I think this could be the most, because of the players they're going to lose and the players they have lost. Koulibaly for Chelsea is an absolutely massive, massive signing. They are losing pretty much their whole back line, and they're getting in what was supposed to be the next big defender. He didn't have the best end to the season last season, but for the 2-3 years before that, he's been unbelievable. He's been a rock star, and I think he's a massive, massive signing for Chelsea. I'm also really excited to see Sterling at Chelsea as well. And George said it in the last segment, where if Sterling comes on and scores 20 goals for Chelsea, they will finish top 3. But the issue is that I don't know if he will. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough, really
Do you
tough.
think, question to pose out there, do you think Sterling scores more than Gabriel this season, Jesus?
Oh, they're both getting 15 goals, in my opinion.
I think Raza does get more if he's on all the set pieces. Now, I'm not saying that Jesus won't be on penalties and stuff at Arsenal, but I just think Sterling will. I'm not saying.
Jorginho's there though, isn't he? Is he gone?
No, he's still there.
According to you, Maisie shouldn't even be a footballer, so I don't know what you're chipping in with that for. Yeah, I just think Sterling will edge it. I'm not saying he's going to get 20 and Jesus is going to get 2. I'm saying he's just going to edge it.
Mm-hmm. Look, I think if Jesus is as good as we want him to be, he'll score 20 goals. But I'm on the fence at the moment. I think overall he'll get more assists and goals than Sterling, but I don't know about goals. Best window so far. Who's got the best? Oh no, sorry, I've missed one. Who's the first manager to get sacked? First manager to get sacked. George, give it to me.
It's between Jesse Marsch and Frank Lampard. I think, I'm sure you've both been doing your fantasy teams, and you will have had a look at our fixture run. That is the best fixture run we've had for years, where we don't have a cluster of like Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, where we just, like we did last February, and we could see like 22 goals or something. If we're like 5-6 games in and we haven't picked up requisite number of points, then I think, because the thing is, it's not like when Bielsa had credit in the bank. As soon as it starts going sour, people want him gone. I mean, I get annoyed with him because he doesn't wear a suit and dress smart for a job that I would literally kill for. So I think if you know that I'm harbouring those opinions and I'm quite mild-mannered, you can imagine what others might think. But Lampard, quite frankly, because he isn't a very good manager, and Abramovich isn't there to give him 250 million to spend now. So we'll see, won't we?
Yeah. Look, I agree with both of those. They could be gone pretty quickly. Liam, who have you gone?
Lampard.
Yeah, I'm easily. I'm on Lampard as well.
The reason why predominantly is because I think I haven't put them in bottom 3 purely because I don't actually think they will end up there this season. The reason why is I think as soon as they start to look like they did first half of last season, he's gone. They won't take him any longer than they think they have to, and I think they'll be scared of going into the same spiral, if you like. So I think other managers, Leeds, I think will be gone. I think Jesse Marsch will probably be given a bit of time. Parker's still at Bournemouth, isn't he?
I was going to say Scott Parker's my second one to go.
I don't think they'll get rid of him. I think he'll get some lifelines. He's got a little bit of credit in the bank, but I think Lampard, he could be gone by October. Soon as they start struggling, which they will, because they look terrible, and they've lost players and they haven't replaced players. I think I'll be surprised if he lasts. I'll be very surprised if he lasts till Christmas.
Yeah, me too. Good bet for everybody there. Best window so far. I've gone with City. I'm just so excited to see Haaland in that team. I think
We heard you the first 6 times.
I think Phillips is a massive signing. I don't really know too much about Moreno. I haven't really delved too deep into him, but Phillips and Haaland, can you get a better January than that? Summer window, whatever it is. Liam, who have you gone?
For Arsenal. I need to mix it up tonight, Jesus.
Honestly.
Look, listen, I think this year, I do like City bringing in Haaland. I think that's a great signing. I think it is, arguably the best signing of the transfer window so far because he's an absolute beast. But if you talk about overall window, I fully am on board with what we've done so far. I think bringing in Jesus, winner. Bringing in Zinchenko, adaptable, winner. Vieira looks like a top signing. I think that we're there to do one more. I think we're there to probably bring Tielemans in.
Ooh,
hopefully 2 more. Yeah, and then we've got Saliba back. All right, okay, he's not signed, but we brought him back from loan. I think in 4 or 5 players, we've turned our squad from being a decent squad into a very good squad this year. So I think in terms of the window overall so far, I think we edge it. You look at City, right? All right, Phillips is a good signing, and then they brought in Haaland. Like I said, is a beast. They've already got that squad there. Do they really need to add much to it? You could argue maybe one more player because they've let 3 or 4 go. But in terms of actually who they've brought in so far, I think we just pip it for what we've been able to do, which probably not a lot of people thought we would be able to do, given that we didn't get top 4.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. George.
I've actually jotted a few down. If I had to pick one, I would go with City because I've read that even with that window, they're due to turn a profit, which is absolutely bananas. Arsenal get a mention for me. Do I think that's enough to get them where Liam wants them to be? Maybe, maybe not. Everyone knew they needed a striker. They've gone out and got a top quality one. Don't know what he's doing there because he should have had much better options. But I'm not going. Arsenal.
I agree.
Yeah, that's why Liam's so excited because he knows that realistically shouldn't really have them. Spurs, not necessarily.
Spurs.
But I've gone for Spurs because of what I said before. If it's going to work with Conte, you've got to do it his way. He's brought in Perisic, who's won things for him at Inter Milan. They've then gone and got Richarlison for when Kane isn't playing. Basuma and Højbjerg are going to be... That makes exactly what you said Arsenal are missing in terms of that bite. Now, maybe, Liam, you might supplement it with quality in Ødegaard and Vieira. But if you don't, there's 2 ways of going about it, isn't there? And they've gone the other way. So I think that. But then I've also actually gone for Forest. Odd one. But I've gone for Forest because I'm looking at what we didn't do. Like, I mean, when we came up,
do it.
That's terrible. I'll be honest. I think Lingard was a joke, but I think they've made something like 12 first team signings, which have then, and I'm sorry to say this, but all those lads, a good chunk of the lads that have got them up, that have done well for them, they've been clear and gone, thank you, but you're just not going to be good enough. And then they've just pushed them to the bench. And they're trying not to make the mistake that loads of teams have done, like Norwich do every year or every 2 years, which is try and rely on the players that have got you up. So you've got to salute that.
Interesting. I remember Fulham did it a couple of years ago where they just came in with a completely new team.
But let me just caveat that. Fulham signed unknown quantities from abroad. Forest have signed players from the top of the best championship players.
Nice. Yeah, very good argument there.
Can I just say, I agree. Yeah, okay, Conte's window might have been good for a Conte window. Basuma, agree. Top quality player. I'd love to have him at Arsenal because I think we're one party injury away from falling apart in the midfield. Richarlison, I'm not having. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, okay, decent. Doesn't make it a good window for me. Then you've got Perisic.
Yeah.
He's 33. All right, he might do a job, but he's not a world beater. I'm not that bothered about him. They can take him. That's fine. And then who else?
Good backup keeper.
Clement Lenglet on loan from Barcelona.
What, Forster?
Mate, that's a great signing for the changing room.
That's a good backup, Liam. Come on.
For a changing room, mate. Mentality, like
an okay backup.
Played at Man United.
Good backups. What's your definition of good?
Am I getting wrong?
I don't think my definition of good is Fraser Foster, but
Right.
okay.
Do you know what? I've got to throw that out there for Liam. Not as good as Leno. I'll hold that up.
Leno would be.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't keep hold of Leno because he wants to go to get a World Cup position, right?
Oh my God!
Fulham.
Send him to Leeds. Oh God.
I think Fulham have wrapped him up today. I think, but I
That's
think
really good move. Really
is a
good
very, very good move. That is going to save them points for sure. Because Leno is an excellent keeper, and I am gutted that he wouldn't stay behind and play. I don't blame him for playing second fiddle because I do think he is better than a second fiddle keeper. But yeah, sorry, just come back to Spurs.
Jed Spence.
Decent. I would have had him at Arsenal because he tore Arsenal apart in the FA Cup last year. Longley, I'm not having. I think Longley's terrible.
But do you not think with the centre back options they currently have, he's an improvement on that?
An improvement. Again, average. Like, okay. Is it like this the kind of signing where, like I am with Jesus, like I'm not thinking, oh Jesus Christ, that's unbelievable. Is there anyone there that's, again, Basuma? I think Basuma's brilliant. I really would love to have Basuma at Arsenal. When he went to Spurs, I was like, ugh. Is there anyone in there you're like, oh,
the difference is Tottenham already have those players. Tottenham already have the Kane and the Sons. Well, Arsenal don't have those players. So you've got that player now where you can be like, big juicy steak. What Tottenham needed was not a big name player. They didn't need an Eriksen or anybody. They needed was like solid players that are proven, that are better than average, and that will beat the other players out of a team.
Who's their best midfielder?
That's a question.
And who's if pick me out their best midfielder and then tell me which other top 5 teams does he walk into?
Who are you going for, Maze?
You probably have to say Basuma now, right?
Maybe.
And that's the one I'd say. Yeah, okay, fine. He probably could fit into some of the top 6 teams. Højbjerg, I don't think he walks into the top 5 teams.
I was thinking Højbjerg under Conte. I would probably go if Højbjerg, and I think he would make it into quite a few teams on his day.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
You're not going to like this, Liam. For me, Højbjerg gets in your team.
Mm-hmm.
Ahead of who?
Don't know. He just gets in there because he's got tattoos.
I do like a man with tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. What about Kulusevski? Does Kulusevski get it? Because we haven't mentioned him. He's a decent player.
Have they got him on permanent now?
Yeah, I think so.
Decent. Am I rubbing my hands together as a Spurs fan again?
But no. Liverpool's midfield, you don't rub your hands together about the midfield. Like, they don't play. Yeah, but before Thiago.
Yeah, Maze, that's a great point. That is a great point. I was actually going to make that, but I'm glad because I forgot. I'm glad you did. You look at Liverpool's team. Apart from some people gassing about Van Dijk and some people going on about Alisson, there wasn't one signing Liverpool made where everyone was like, "That is nailed on." To do that is unbelievable. Apart from Thiago, with hindsight, people might be like, "Well, I knew Mane would be good." Nobody thought he'd be that good, and nobody thought Salah would be the player he's been.
Or Jota, to be fair, everyone raised an eyebrow at that.
Diaz, I was quite, as much as I loved him, I was questioning him. Fabinho, but that's the point. I get what you're saying that they haven't brought anyone in where you're like, "That's nailed them on to do that." But if we think Kane and Son can do it anyway, and they've just beefed up a bit. Because this is the thing, top 4 for same as you. Top 4 is a good season. Like that's it. As long as they get that, there's not going to be any questions asked, and it's going to be a pat on the back and a 4% pay rise.
That's what I mean. Okay, yeah, you've made a good point. Does that mean that it's a great window?
Well,
for Tottenham,
yeah.
For Tottenham, it does.
For Tottenham,
if they were going into Arsenal, you'd probably prefer what you've done.
So would you have, okay, maybe not Liverpool because you're on a different playing field, but if that was the calibre of window that Liverpool had, you'd be pretty angry.
If I was choosing for Liverpool and I could choose between Tottenham or I could choose between Arsenal, I'd choose the Tottenham signings.
You would?
Because they are better team players, like in my opinion. They're better. Like Jesus is not going to make our team right now. And Zinchenko, I don't think would make our team.
You take Richarlison.
I wouldn't take Richarlison would be fired at the front door.
That's what I mean. I'm trying to look at those signings.
Richarlison to me is not the signing, and I said that I think he is a signing that he's a name signing that they want.
You'd be happy to bring in Perisic.
Yeah, I'd be happy to bring in Basuma as well. That's
Basuma,
literally
I think Basuma's a quality signing. That's the one that I am thinking that they've had a good window. If you take Basuma out of that window, I think it's a shocker. I really do, and I've seen it written about, not by Arsenal fans actually, by quite a few pundits, and they think, you know, if you take one name out of that, if you take Basuma out of that setup, people would be rioting over at Spurs as fans, because I just don't see the quality there. I don't see the massive improvement. It might be a Conte little play, and I think he's obviously got what he wants to work out. But yeah, I think 50 million for Richarlison. Jesus Christ.
Richarlison's a weird one. My biggest flop is Richarlison.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Okay.
My biggest flop is Richarlison. So just to prove your point there, Liam, that I am on your side, I do not think Richarlison's going to be a good player for them. But I do think that Spurs have had a really good window. I just think that Richarlison's been always overrated. I know that George has rated him for a while, and I've never seen it. I think he did in the end actually keep up Everton, but that's because Richarlison is one player in the world where if everybody in the world is behind you, which it felt like Everton, you know, like the Everton crowd was just so electric. They riled everybody up. They're throwing flares on. If there's one player in the world that you want in that atmosphere, that's Richarlison. But when it's on a day-to-day, you know, midweek game against Bournemouth, Richarlison's not going to help you out. And I don't think he's going to be very good for Spurs. George.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I'm sorry, we shouldn't keep going back to it. What about Rodrigo Bentancur, Liam? Because they got Bentancur on the January and he's there permanently now.
I didn't think much of him when he signed. He had a good second half of the season.
But can you see why, if we're going, okay, they've got top four, they've already got the muscle, they've just padded it out a little bit to get fourth again. Nothing else, just fourth.
But
Third.
Are they? Are they? That's what I mean as a Spurs fan. Are you not like at Arsenal? I feel like we're building a squad maybe in 1-2 years' time to actually start challenging again. I don't think that Spurs squad is ever going to start challenging.
Spurs, but their mind, we could go on this all day, but I think their mindset's got to be completely different. It's Conte and Mourinho. But Conte and Mourinho are the two where it's a flash in a pan. It's a revolver. You either win the lottery or you shoot yourself in the head. Like that's it. It either works and they'll probably win 2 trophies this year and get top 4, domestic ones, nothing big, or they don't and he leaves, as I famously said, by Christmas. So we'll see.
Maybe that's what it is for me. Is about building a squad that is going to challenge, and I don't think they're going to challenge. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that's their thinking.
I think for me, Maze, in terms of flops, I've actually got quite a few down. So I've got
Martin. You've written a lot tonight, haven't you?
Yeah, but because it's too soon to just Martinez, who Man United have just signed for nearly 60 million. 5'9" centre back. I mean that's just an accident waiting to happen. Who's he going to play next to? Answer that question, because we all know the answer. I can't see that working.
I really hope it's not Maguire.
But it is. But it probably will be.
Yeah.
Next, I've gone for Zinchenko for the reason I made earlier. But then I've grouped these 3 in together: Haaland, Núñez, and Jesus. And I'm not saying they're going to be. Liam's just said Jesus is going to get 20 goals and assists. If he gets 9, he's flopped. Haaland, Mays, you're expecting to hit 30. If he hits 15, we'll see how many games he plays. If he plays a full season and he gets 15, flopped. Núñez, the money you've spent on him, if he plays let's say he plays 50 games and he hits less than 20 goals, you brought him in to do more than that. And my last one is Sinisterra, who Leeds have signed from Feyenoord as sort of a Rafinha replacement. I thought you'd say that, mate. Feyenoord, massive club. He scored 23 goals in 49 last year and was instrumental in them getting to the final of the Conference League against Roma.
I can always count on you, George, to fill me in on things that I have no idea about.
Yeah, okay. Well, before you play that card, had you heard of Rafinha before we signed him? Because I barely had.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, exactly. So be fair. Come on, be fair. So they're the flops that I've gone for. You can pick it apart.
I just quickly on the Haaland and Núñez and Jesus. I think Jesus is probably the most secure out of those. I have a feeling that Nunes is going to be really slow to start. And I think Haaland might find it harder than he thinks. I'm really excited to watch him play, but I do think he's going to find it tough. I think it always makes, and especially in City, it takes everybody a year in City. Look at Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne when he came, all of it, everybody. Even when Pep first came to that club, they finished fourth. And then the next year they went on. So everybody struggles first year there. So I think he will struggle. But I think for the future, that is a pretty cool signing. Liam?
I think the fact we're talking about big flops, right, is because they're going to have to be big signings for their respective clubs. There's going to be players that have been obviously signed that are just going to fall flat on their face. But we're talking about the big ones. I think Nunes will be the biggest.
Ooh.
I do agree with Haaland. I think I don't think he's been in a team yet. He's always been the main man, right? Even when he signed for Dortmund, he was the main man. He kind of has a bit of free will. You don't get free will at City. You're going to have to put the shift in. And I think that coupled with a move to the Premier League, most difficult difficult league in the world, I think he will be a slow burner as well. I think he'll nick goals to start with, but much like we've seen
last year.
Yeah, Lukaku's a good example. But also, I was 100% sure Jack Grealish would hit the ground running at City, and he didn't. Chance. He didn't, and he struggled a lot with the mindset of playing the City way. I think Haaland is in the same bracket. I think you might see him struggle with the City way of playing for the first year, coupled with the move to the Prem. So I have no doubt it'll be a top quality signing, but he could potentially be a big flop.
Awesome. Great talk, boys. We're going to finish off with a really happy one. And I'm hoping we've all gone players from our own teams for this one. But who are you most excited to watch? New signing. I don't know if I said new signing. Okay, it doesn't have to be new signing. Who are you most excited to watch this season? I've gone with a player. I know that I'm nervous about him playing. I can't wait to watch Darwin Núñez. I'm just super, super excited. It's the first window in a while, like signing in a while, where my eyes just like lit up, and I was so happy for weeks. Like Thiago was another example of it, but like getting a striker, is there a better feeling in the world? There is no better feeling in the world than getting a striker,
especially an unknown striker.
Yeah, well, a little unknown. No, Liam, who are you most excited about?
I'm actually, only because he still hasn't played in the pre-season yet. I'm very excited to see what Fabio Vieira has got to offer. We know, all about Jesus, and I am excited for him to start for Arsenal, and I think he's going to be a massive hit, and I think he did really well. But in terms of what I'm excited to see, I think what I've seen of Fabio Vieira, which is limited, he looks like a top quality player. As long as he can beef up and hit the ground relatively running, I'm really excited to see what he's got to offer.
He's Porto, right? Not Benfica. He was Porto. Yeah.
He was Porto.
Yeah. Cool. George.
Believe it or not, I've got 3. Yeah. No, it's going to be quick. Vieira for all the reasons Liam said. Grealish.
Vieira in there?
Yeah, Grealish because of what we said about second season.
Love it. Yeah.
And for Leeds, I've gone for Mark Roca, who we signed from Bayern Munchen. Because what Liam was saying earlier about not replacing, what we've tried to do is instead of replacing Phillips with one player, we've got Tyler Adams to do the defensive stuff and Mark Roca to sort of spray it about. Whether or not it works is another matter. But
so you've got rid of an iPhone, you've bought an iPod, a speaker, a TV.
And a Nokia to make phone calls.
Basically. But you never know, it might work. So yeah,
boy.
I like it.
No, look, this is the best part of the season in a weird way. Like everybody gets to be really excited. There's no sadness at the moment unless you're, I don't know,
Spurs fan.
Burnley.
Burnley. Who was that one team that hasn't done anything? Was it Leicester? Is Leicester
Leicester haven't had anyone come in.
Like, so if you're a Leicester fan, I'm really sorry. But everybody else, enjoy it, because I mean, maybe United, you're a little bit stink at the moment because of the Ronaldo stuff, but everybody else enjoy it because it's the best part before any serious stuff happens. Really good chatting with you boys, and well, we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.